Hello, this is Mario Ibarra Jr. and I'm here with the most rockinest, Devon Tsuno, the artist that I love, admire, and respect, here in his solo exhibition at Residency Art. Dev, can you tell us where we are and what the title of your show is?
Hi, my name is Devon Tsuno. This is my solo exhibition at Residency Gallery in Inglewood. The title is Shikata ga Nai with the red strike through. And we're here and it's open until April 4th. Please check out the link below. Come out, check it out. Yeah, I mean this exhibition really I felt like was a moment where it really did all come together. The last 15-20 years of making work. You know, I grew up in LA, I'm like the third generation of my family that live and grew up here, so I'm just like, you know, I was always making work as an Angelino, as a Japanese American living here in LA, and you know, my experience living here. But I think as I've grown older, you know, I've been able to travel more, I've been able to go to Japan, I've been able to do more research and have more access to information that, you know, really wasn't accessible to me as a young person, to be honest, you know.
So Dev, can you break down some of your painting techniques that you used in this show?
Yeah. So a lot of people think that my paintings are paper cutouts collaged on the canvas.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it's actually, it's not, it's all paint. But it's supposed to kind of feel like washi paper, Japanese washi paper collage.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. So what I do is I'll put painter's tape over big sections of the painting, and then I draw on it like a gesture drawing with a Sharpie marker. Oh, yeah. Kind of like I'm doodling, you know, on the side of my paper.
Yeah.
And then I cut it out with an X-Acto blade, and then I peel it out, and then I build up the paint in all these different ways with different kind of geeky painting techniques. And I do that over and over and over again, and that's how you get like these kind of crazy thick layers. Yeah, built up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the different mediums that you add to it for different techniques. What kinds of things we're using for what? Can you point out a couple?
Yeah, sure, yeah. So actually down over here, you can see in this painting here, up in this section, you know, this really kind of matte, really flat turquoise color. I mix in different mediums into the acrylic paint to make it have a really chalky feel, kind of like almost like spackle, like really kind of chalky. And it makes the paint really brittle, so when I pull the tape off, you get this really crisp edge.
Yeah, because that's envious. I was like, do you cut back into that thing?
I know, yeah. It's a little technique. And then this area up here where it looks like watercolor is super crazy because I actually resurface certain areas of the painting so that water absorbs back into the paint. And which is the opposite. Usually when you put a primer or something like that, it does a resist to water.
Yeah, you want it to sit on top.
Exactly.
So this is going into it,
Yeah, so it really looks like it's watercolor paper on there. And I brush with like big watercolor brushes, and I splatter, and I also oftentimes mix sumi ink, Japanese ink, into the acrylic, so then it kind of reacts to it.
So is this like an open face sandwich, or do you have something that is sealing it in there?
Oh no, it's sometimes what I'll do is I will seal it, like right in here. I'll really compress like 3 or 4 layers and consolidate it in one space by using like different graffiti spray paints over it, and so it really kind of pushes the space together. Whereas up here, it's really like on top of each other like this.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then can we talk a little bit about your books?
Yeah, sure.
So, like, who are the folks that are on the covers?
Oh, well, these are like, you know, the most important women, you know, old women in my family. This is my grandma, Kyoko, and this is her sitting in her house in Jefferson Park where she lived since 1950, when she was 101 years old, just this past summer. And, you know, she's very old, and I think in our culture it's really hard to kind of give elderly people the recognition and the acknowledgement that they want. And she always used to stare at me like this, you know. She couldn't talk anymore. She couldn't really smile, and she would always stare at me like, you know, wanting to interact with me. So this picture like means a lot to me because I took it like the last time she was dressed up when she was honored by the Okinawa Club for being 101.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's inside of them? What's the content?
So there's two different versions of
So
the
that's
book.
your grandmother.
That's my grandmother.
And then this one is.
And then this woman here, right here, this is my great aunt, my Auntie Chie, and she's 96 years old. This is her in her home in Jardina. And she's sitting in front of, it's called a butsudan, which is like a kind of like a shrine in a lot of Japanese American homes. She has an especially big one.
Oh yeah.
And behind her here are all of her deceased family members. So she's the last person from the Topaz camp in my family who's still alive.
Still alive.
Yeah.
And then the details, the photographs that are kind of framework and on the back of the covers, where are those images from?
So on this particular one has this image which is also in the exhibition layered as wallpaper. This is the exact location my family lived at Topaz at the camp. So when I visited last summer, I'm the first person from my family to go back there.
Okay.
I drove out there after the protests at Fort Steele, and I was like, I need to do this now. I need to drive out there. And I met Jane Beckwith, the founder of the Topaz Museum.
Okay.
And she's just this amazing person, very kind person, who dedicated her life to creating this museum and archiving the history that happened in her town. So this space right here is actually, when you walk through the door, it's the first piece of dirt in that threshold area in the barrack where my family lived.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then in the back of this one?
Yeah, so, and then this one right here is framed, and on the back of it is this home in Beverly Hills. And this is an azalea plant that my grandfather, her husband, planted in Beverly Hills. And it's the last azalea plant in the landscape in Beverly Hills that's still there that my grandfather planted. So inside of the book here, this version of the book has this image, and this image is that azalea plant.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. So this one here, this book, Auntie Chie's book, is slightly different. And what it has is it has this image of a broken window at the barrack. My family lived at Topaz, and an essay by Anna Iwataki here. And then inside of here, some really important archival material. All of these are stories written by teenagers who lived in the camps. This is the high school newspaper. So there's a lot of stories about gossip and sports, just like any kind of high school newspaper. But really, when you read between the lines and when you really get into the depths of what they wrote, there are these really, really powerful words from young people about what they thought about what was being what happened to them, what it means to be American, you know, how they were gonna have to act after the war, kind of just like contemplating like how this happened and processing how they were gonna get through it. So these newspapers are all in here, but what was great about this project was I used them for these books, but I also used them for my residency at MoCA.
Yeah.
And through that process, I was able to work with the Japanese American Digitization Project at Cal State University Dominguez Hills. And all of these archival materials will be available to anybody.
Research.
Yeah, and it'll be all searchable, and it's there alongside a lot of other really important information. And you can go to the website. It's csujad.com, and you can access any of this information.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So we want to say thank you first and foremost to Residency Art Gallery, its owner Rick Garzon, and to the maestro, painter, educator, researcher, Los Angelino, Devon Tsuno. Thanks so much for having us today, Devon. It's been our pleasure.